Good Saturday morning to you. Thank you for being here, and I hope you've had a good week, and hope you're planning on starting the next week out in God's house tomorrow morning. Again, Sunday morning church is a Saturday decision. I'm convinced of that. Go ahead and make up your mind now that you're going to be in God's house tomorrow. Go ahead and lay out your clothes. Let the kids know, whoever, that we're going to be in church tomorrow. And so, hope to see you there. If you don't have a church home, don't have a place to worship, love to have you at Poplar Grove Baptist Church, 3476 Poplar Tent Road in Concord, just up the road from the Fry Skating Rink and the concrete plant, the old Kmart. And we'd love to have you. Again, we're meeting in our family life building. We're doing everything humanly possible, I think, to keep everyone safe. We've got plenty of social distance between the seats and fogging everything ahead of time to sanitize. And so we'd love to have you, but if not, love to have you worship with us online. Again, whether on Facebook, on our Facebook page, you can go to our web page and live stream from there, and or we put up a recording Sunday afternoon on YouTube. And so, love to have you. If not, go to your church, but be somewhere tomorrow morning, praying and singing, being with God's people, and worshiping the Lord. This morning, we're going to pick back up in the 41st Psalm. And again, we're still dealing with a group of Psalms, beginning in the 38th Psalm, where David, in some form or fashion, is crying out for help in his time of distress. And this Psalm, again, is just telling us how to find mercy, how to get the mercy of God when we are going through a difficult time. From these Psalms, again, it appears that David has some type of physical, I don't think there's any question, David has some type of physical ailment that is bothering him, that is causing him a great deal of distress. Go back and read, if you haven't been with us, go back and read over Psalm 38, 39, 40. And you will see David is in a great deal of physical distress. But not only in the physical distress, because he is sick, he is down. His enemies, in particular his son, have been using this situation against him and using it as a way to betray him. And to come against him and to try to take him off of the throne. And with that in mind, David, again, we're talking about how to get mercy in times of trouble. Well, David does something real creative here. He says, Lord, be merciful unto me. That's one of the easiest ways, the surest ways for us to find mercy is to pray for it, to ask God for mercy. Be merciful unto me, heal my soul, for I have sinned against thee. And so David shows us here to pray for mercy, but that one of the ways we receive mercy is through forgiveness, by repenting and confessing our sin. We are opening the opportunity for us to have the mercy of God. And so David, again, for some reason, again, he's got something going on here. And so he prays for spiritual healing and physical healing. Is what David is crying out for. And I think what David believed here in this verse, again, seems to bear that out, is that David felt like his physical condition was a result of some sin, some spiritual situation in his life. And that can be the case. And I would encourage you when you're going through dark times, when you're having troubles and trials, to evaluate, to be honest, and see if there is sin that needs to be dealt with. Now, that being said, that's not always the case. Sometimes we are sick because we didn't wash our hands. Sometimes we are sick because we live in a fallen world. But sometimes we're in these situations because of our sin. And so he prays for restoration here. Heal my soul. And when he says soul, he's not just, we think of save my soul. We think of something purely spiritual. But when the word David uses here for soul is would mean heal my entire being. He was talking about physical, spiritual, emotional, everything that about him, but he was also saying that healing was going to come because of his repentance, and so we excuse me, we have to pray for mercy when we have sin that needs to be dealt with. We also pray for mercy. David says in verse 5, "Mine enemies speak evil of me. When shall he die and his name perish? And if he come to see me, he speaketh vanity. His heart gathereth iniquity to himself. When he goeth abroad, he telleth it." And so David, he's talking about those who come against him, all that hate me, whisper together against me do they desire my hurt, and evil disease, say they, cleaveth fast unto him. And now that he lieth, he shall rise up no more. And so David needs the mercy of God because his friends have proven themselves not to be so friendly. They have proven themselves to be, truthfully, not even friends, but to actually be enemies, which certainly added to David's affliction. He's physically suffering, he's spiritually suffering. And now he has those who had pretended to be his friends. If he says in verse 6, if he comes to see me, he speaks vanity. And he goes, and so he comes to see me, but then he goes out and ridicules me and laughs at me, makes fun of me. And so David, to add insult to injury, salt in the wound. He knows that his friends here, he down here in verse 5, or excuse me, verse 8 says he has an evil disease that sticks fast to him, and he now he lies, he'll rise up no more. In other words, his enemy, those that had pretended to be his friends, who were truly his enemies, were praying actually for his death. They were hoping to see him actually die. Verse 7, they they devise my hurt. And so these were, again, those who called their friends. They would come and say nice things to him and tell him they hoped he felt better. But the truth was, they were just really coming to see him. He says there that they come, his heart gathering iniquity himself, when he goeth abroad, he telleth. That they were really just, they were coming to see David, really not to encourage him or to help him, but to see what kind of condition he was in. Basically going to see how sick he was, see if, is he about dead? Are we about rid of him? And so his situation is made worse by these who have pretended to be his friend. In verse 9, he says, "Yea, my own familiar friend, in whom I trusted, which did eat of my bread, hath lifted up his heel against me." Not just friends. All of us have got friends, people we know. people we speak to in the store, whatever. But David says it's not just my acquaintances. Sometimes somebody will ask me, do you know so and so? And my response a lot of times will be, well, I know who it is, but I don't really know them. Well, David had this group that he knew who they were, but they weren't. He didn't really know them that well. That he just described. But here in verse 9, he basically, my familiar friend, or the word we'd use today would be my best friend. Again, it's one thing when your enemies turn against you. It's one thing when your acquaintances turn against you. But your best friend, one that you have dined with, one that you have given him your food. And particularly in this culture, in David's culture, to dine with someone was an extremely important social event. It showed a relationship. And so here David is saying, my familiar friend, my best friend. And assuming that this psalm was written during the time of Absalom's rebellion, we're probably talking about here when he talks about his familiar friend, Ahithophel, who was David's chief advisor. And David says of him that that he has rebelled against me. He's actually come up against me. And so we should see in this handful of verses that David is he's in a mess. He's in a very serious predicament where his friends have come against him, and he's crying out for mercy. And so we learn here, I think, a couple things that I think are extremely important for us to file back and to keep back in our minds somewhere. Don't file them too far back, but to hang on to. And that is, we can cry out for mercy when we are in a situation, when we're in a dilemma because of our own sin. When our situation overwhelms us, when we're trying our best to live for God, and yet it seems like that everything is going wrong. When our friends, those who we know best, those even family, those that we love and who have said that they love us, turn against us, then we cry out for mercy. And I think we need to be reminded of that. So many times, we're kind of taught to be independent and do things ourselves. But here, the great warrior David reminds us that it's all right. It's okay to go to God. It's okay to turn to Him and seek mercy in our situation. Sometimes we just feel like, well, I got to tough it out. I got to be strong. We've been told all that. Well, David shows us that sometimes even the strong have to cry out and plead for God's mercy. And so today, I'm not sure what you're facing, not sure what's got you down, not sure what valley you might be traveling through. You might be like David. It might be someone you thought was a friend who has betrayed you. It might be your situation, your circumstances, it might be your health. Whatever it is, it's okay. I I hear myself telling people that so often. It's okay to cry out to God. It's all right to bear our hearts and our burdens to God and let Him know what's on our heart and to beg and plead for His mercy. And so today, whatever you're going through, whatever you face, you remember you've always got a God that cares. You've always got a God that wants to hear from you and wants to heal and wants to help. And so, don't know what you're going through, but if you need the mercy of God, it's right there. It's available for you. You just need to cry out and ask God for His mercy. All right. I hope that helps you through the day, through the weekend, and maybe somewhere down the road. All right. Have a great day, and we will see you back here first thing Monday morning. Bye bye.